Okay, so we're only interested now in sketching graphs, okay? If they actually ask you to graph something, you need to go to your calculator and use mode 3 and put the function in, okay? But if they just ask you to draw a sketch of the graph, you're only interested in a few things. So, for example, if it's linear, you're really just going to find 2 points, okay? Generally, where x is 0 and where y is 0, okay? But you can use where x is 1 or x is 2, anything that's nice. Like if you don't like the answer that x is 0 and y is 0 gives you, you can use any 2 points on the graph, okay? And just remember, this type of line would have a positive x value, okay, positive slope, and this type of line has a negative slope. We've done enough of that in coordinate geometry, okay? So that's all you need if you're sketching a line, okay? 2 points, that's enough. What about if we're sketching a quadratic? So what we need to sketch a quadratic is we need to know the shape of it, first of all. We need to know the roots, and ideally we need to know the turning point, okay? Or the max or min point. So turning point is just another word for the maximum point or the minimum point, depending on the type of graph that you have, okay? So you'll remember U-shaped has a positive x squared, okay? Positive x squared. N-shaped has a negative x squared, okay? The coefficient of x squared is positive for U. The coefficient of the x squared is negative for an N. To find the roots of a quadratic, you let y equal 0, because that's going to find you those two roots. Basically, you factorize and solve, or you do the minus b. Factorize, minus b. That's going to find you the roots. And the turning point, you can either use calculus, which we're going to do next, and in general, if you're looking for the turning point, calculus is way easier and quicker to do, but we just haven't done it yet. So, or we can use completing the square. That also finds us the max or min point. Okay, so you need to go back in the example copy . When you complete the square, your max or min is always change that sign, keep that sign, PQ. Okay, so we did that in algebra 2, I think. Okay, so you've completed the square, you get something to be squared plus a number. Okay, you always change the sign in here and keep the sign here. So that's your max or your min point, depending on which one. Down here it would be a min, here it would be a max. Okay. So will I do an example of one of those maybe? Yeah. Okay, so by finding the points where the curve crosses the x and y axis and the turning point, sketch f of x equals minus x squared plus 4x plus 5. Okay, so we're sketching this quadratic. Okay, so immediately you should be able to see that it's N-shaped. Okay. Now this one's asking us to find where it cuts the x-axis and the y-axis. So it's asking us for the roots and also the y-intercept. Okay. So we know we can find the roots by letting y equal 0. F of x is another word for y, so letting that equal 0. Okay. Now because it's equal to 0, I can change all the signs. And then I can factorize, or minus b. Now factors of 5 are 5 and 1, and a minus 5 plus 1. So there's my roots. To find where it cuts the y-axis, you let x equal 0. It's always that number on its own. Okay, plus 5. So cuts the y-axis at the point 0, 5. And then they want us to find the turning point. Well, we don't have calculus done yet, so we need to complete the square to find the turning point. Okay. Now, remember, completing the square, you have to have x squared. That means I need to pull out a minus 1 here, or minus. Okay? And what's going to happen there is that's going to change all the signs in there. Okay? Now, you can use your formula. Okay? So it's x plus b over 2 to be squared minus b over 2 to be squared plus c. So what you're left with is x minus 2 to be squared. Okay, so that's minus 2 to be squared is 4. So minus 4 minus 5 is minus 9. But remember, this whatever's on the outside gets stuck next to the bracket but also gets multiplied. So you multiply it back in. Okay, so you get minus x minus 2 to be squared, and then minus 1 by minus 9 is plus 9. Okay. And now we know our max or min point. Change this sign, keep this sign, is 2, 9.
Miss, why don't you make it minus x and plus 2?
No, because you have a minus outside this bracket. BirdMaths or BIMDAS or BOMDAS tells you you have to square something. You'd have to do indices before you could do adding or subtracting or multiplying, dividing. So that minus cannot go into that bracket until you've multiplied out that bracket. Then the minus goes in. Okay, squaring is an operation that has to happen first. So always you have to leave it like this. Okay, and if it was a minus 3 here, it would have to stay as minus 3 next to the bracket, because you can't put it in and then square. That's different to squaring and then multiplying. Okay? So going back up here, this is an N-shaped, it's negative x squared, so it's an N-shaped graph. So this is going to be your max point, because obviously an N has a max. Okay? So now that I have all of those things, I can draw my picture. Okay? I can do my sketch. So you just keep those in mind, okay? I'm just going to freeze it here for a second. Okay. So, just underneath that, you're going to draw your picture. I know it crosses the x-axis here at -1. and at 5 I know the max point is 2,9 and it goes through here at 0,5. So it's going to look something like that. Make sure this is rounded, a bit more rounded even than I've drawn it. So there's your sketch. You should draw a scale on it, but I'm just being a bit lazy really. Okay.
Yes, how do you know that that's the maximum point and not the minimum point?
Well, just because it's N-shaped or U-shaped. Okay, so that's a max, that's a min. So it just depends on the shape of the graph.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, is that alright for you? Make sense? Okay.
Miss, what's the number on the y-axis?
5. Here, 0,5. Okay, so we got our roots, we had our y-intercept, and then we had our max point. Did I say quadratic graphs or quadratic functions in the last bit there, as you're heading?
Sketching graphs.
Yeah, and then I said linear and quadratic. Did I just say linear and quadratic?
Yeah.
Okay, so the next one's cubic. Okay. Okay, so you have a cubic graph now. It's really important to learn these off, okay? This is the shape it takes if your coefficient of x cubed is positive, okay? This is the shape it takes if the coefficient of x cubed is negative, okay? Maybe you're going to think about it as being the right side. Always think of the right side is smiling. Okay, for your positive cubic, and then over here the right side is frowning for your negative. So mainly to sketch a cubic you're looking for the roots and you're looking for the y-intercept. Okay? You can then make your graph more accurate by finding the max and min points, but you can't do max and min points of a cubic without calculus. Okay? So in the questions that are following we're not going to be using the max and the min points, okay, because we haven't done calculus yet. So the roots and the y-intercept are all we're interested in now to give us an idea, and obviously the shape. You need to know whether it's, I should say that there too, whether it's a positive cubic or negative cubic. Okay? So let's do this. Another example, okay? So sketch f of x equals so we can find the y-intercept really easily. It's just the number on its own. Okay, so when x is 0, y is 6. So I know where it cuts the y-axis. Now I need to find the roots, okay? So the roots happen, we know, when y is 0. So we're going to be left with 0 equals minus x cubed. And I'm going to change all the signs. Okay, now, how do I find the roots of this? What do I have to do? We're talking about a cubic. Go on.
Is it grouping now?
No, it's not grouping yet. I have to do one thing. I have to find one root first, and it's nice and easy. How do I find it?
Equals 0?
It is equal to 0.
Fill in.
Oh, lovely. Fill in what?
1.
Yeah. Fill in something. It's trial and error. Do you remember? To find the first root, it's trial and error. Fill in 0, fill in 1, fill in minus 1, fill in 2, fill in minus 2, until you get 0 equals 0. Okay? So, first one, trial and error. So we'll fill in 1 first of all. So 0 equals 1, 1. Okay? And I get 1 plus 2 is 3. 3 take 5 is minus 2. Minus 2 minus 6. Right, well that's not equal to 0. Okay? So that means 1 isn't a root. Okay? Let's try minus 1. So that's 1, no, sorry, that's minus 1 plus 2 plus 5 minus 6. So 5, 6, 7. 7 take 1 is 6, 6 take 6 is 0. Okay, so yes, that is a root. X equals minus 1 is a root. Okay, what do you do once you've found that root? Thank you, fab. X plus 1 is a factor. Okay, so once you found your root, you now have a factor. From that factor, okay, you're going to do what? You know, yeah, long division, exactly. Okay, you know that this is a factor of this, so you can just divide it in. Okay, so let's do that. So I'm just dividing in here, so x by x squared gives me x cubed, multiply it back out again. So x squared by x is x cubed, x squared by 1 is x squared. Draw a line, change your signs. Okay, they cancel. 2x squared, take x squared is x squared, pull him down, minus 5x. Start again. X by what gives me x squared? That's x. Okay, x by x is x squared, x by 1 is 1x. Draw a line, change your signs. They cancel. Minus 5x minus x is minus 6x, pull him down, minus 6, start again. X by minus 6. And I know I'm right. Okay, so I now know x plus 1 by x squared plus x minus 6. Okay, now what you're going to do is factorize this. So the factors of 6 are 6 and 1 or 2 and 3. It's going to be 2 and 3, and it's going to be a plus 3 and a minus 2. You can do your grouping there if you want, or you can do your minus b formula to get you the roots. Okay, so our roots are x is minus 1, x is minus 3, and x is 2. Okay, Any issues there? Alright, so we now have where it cuts the y-axis, we have where it cuts the x-axis, and we have the shape of it. It's negative, so I know the right side of the graph is frowning. So let's draw this. Just a quick sketch, okay? -3, -1, and 2. And 2, 4, 6, okay? -1, -3, and 2. And here is my 6. And what did I say? The right side of the graph is frowning, isn't it? Because it's negative, minus. So that would mean it's going to look like this. Okay, now I don't actually know where my turning point is or my turning point here. I can't know that yet. I don't have calculus done. Okay, so this is just a sketch.